Okay, I'm not going to drive you guys crazy. I'll speak. I'll speak. So, give me a second. Give me a second, people. Let's break it down this way. I'm showing this perspective illustration to give you guys a universal perspective. And I put a question mark next to the hangout on this channel because I said we don't possess this visual ability. What do I mean by we don't possess this visual ability? Well, it's quite simple. Every government wants us, yeah, I'm scuba diving again. I'm a little bit away from my computer, but let me try to satisfy everybody, make everyone happy, and put on a pair of headsets. Let me know if it's okay with you guys. My son keep ripping them apart, but that's all right. Do I sound a little bit better? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up. Somebody, please, because I don't have any partners in crime hanging out. Super choppy. Well, nothing I can do about it. So I can go back to being silent again if you want me to. You want me to go back to being silent? Thanks, Robert. Still choppy-ish. Okay. Stand by here for a second. Let me adjust the microphone. We got something coming by. Let's do this. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Is that better? Don't you threaten me. Is that better, people? Yes or no? Someone, please. I don't know, man. It's not the mic. It's always I'm running things in the middle of the day. When I do this at night, it doesn't sound like this at all. Okay? So I want you guys to be aware that all of YouTube and Google's supercomputers are based at the Ames Research Center at NASA at Moffett Field in California. So I'm on their shit list, and they know what I put out and what I've done. So maybe they've got it out for me. Oh well, join the club. So let me get on point here. I'm going to do the best I can with being as clear as I can, but if not, I'm just going to have to let this run, people. Perspective. I am of the belief, that's right, Divided Thoughts D-Wave is at NASA, Ames Research. I am of the belief and understanding that we do not possess the advanced technological capability to view anything in space at these distances. And right now, the mile counter is at 195 million miles, okay? 195 million miles. We've already passed the Earth, okay, which was 93 million miles. And we should be heading to Mars, I think. Yeah, I think Mars. I don't believe we have the capability. I don't think that there's a single telescope or observatory on Earth capable of viewing the outside of our planet through 4 different layers of atmosphere. I do not believe we have that ability to view with a telescope or any optical aided device that has a capability to view anything at 200 million plus miles from the surface of the Earth. I believe that everything is closer, much closer. It's not even a million miles. I believe it's thousands of miles closer to us. I believe that the stars that we see up in the nighttime sky, they are not light years away. They're not millions of miles away from us. I posted that video with the European Southern Observatory where they shot a 22-watt laser up into the nighttime sky. And when you fire a laser at something, it just keeps going. The laser just gets wider and wider and wider until eventually you don't even see where the laser is focused on. But according to the European Southern Observatory, they shot a laser up into the nighttime sky and it hit a barrier of sodium atoms to excite them to create an artificial star at 90 kilometers. Okay, 90 kilometers. That's just short of 300,000 feet. Actually, yeah, that's just short of 320,000 feet. Okay, so if we hit a sodium barrier at 90 to 110 kilometers, all right, what's beyond that? Okay, what's beyond that? Then you have to ask yourself, based on the video I put out on my channel, if someone can use a pair of 12 by 80 binoculars to stand on the surface of the Earth and clearly take photos and visually see the surface features on the Earth, and every government agency, every science organization, every university is claiming, and they all agree, they wanted to collectively agree that the moon is 258,000 miles away from the surface of the Earth, that's delusional. How is that possible? You could see the surface features of the moon on Earth with a pair of binoculars. And then if you got a telescope, then you're definitely seeing the moon really clear. Okay? I showed the video where someone used a 2600 millimeter focal length lens to look at the detailed structures and features of the moon. But when NASA puts out their hundreds of thousands of photos that supposedly were taken from the surface of the moon, looking back at the Earth, you can't recognize the surface features of the Earth. And when I say surface features, I'm talking about the land masses. Now people will say, oh yes, because the moon doesn't have any atmosphere. Well, that's bullshit. If you were on the moon, you should see the Earth pretty fucking clear. Because the Earth is supposed to be really fucking big. And the moon really fucking small. The only way you can see the moon the way you do on Earth is that it's closer. And then they show us pictures of Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Pluto. They say all of these space systems and vehicles go out millions, hundreds of millions of miles. We're now at 242 million miles. And, you know, this person that put together this illustration didn't forget to include stars or any other recognizable celestial bodies. Space is supposed to be that empty. That empty. You just can't continue to force yourself to believe that however old you are, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're watching this right now and you're listening to me, you can't believe, you can't continue to force yourself to believe that we possess the advanced technological capability to visually look into any optical aided device and see any celestial body over 100 million miles from the surface of the Earth, looking through 4 layers of atmosphere. Sophia, a 747 special purpose airplane, flies at 45,000 feet. It has the same technical specifications as Hubble. Exactly the same. It launched 10 years after Hubble supposedly left the launch pad, which I prove Hubble never even left the Earth. But Sophia, a 747 special purpose with a 2.7 meter mirror, flies at 45,000 feet and gives us images that are in better quality than the Hubble Space Telescope, which is supposed to be at 330 fucking miles above our head. If you want to believe, if you want to continue to debate me, ridicule me, make fun of me, and tell me that you believe the Hubble is producing those images at 330 miles, then I'll continue to debate with you as well. But when I tell you and show you that a 747 with the exact same telescopic technical hardware and specifications is flying at 45,000 feet, and it has a 250 micron capability to take the same exact photos as a telescope that costs the same amount of money at 330 miles, you're going to lose that argument every time, because I have all of the documented proof and evidence and the interviews which prove beyond a reasonable doubt and unequivocally, case closed, grant the monetary judgment to the plaintiff, because NASA's the defendant. We're at 275 million miles, and they have not shown us another planet yet. This is perspective. Now, this is not real perspective, but I wanted to put this hangout out today to show all of you, never question. You cannot question your own internal cognitive processes. You cannot question your own questions. You can never doubt what you know to be true or what you feel to be true. Your intuition tells you it cannot be possible when you look at this screen, now at 285 million miles. You cannot tell me that we have the advanced technological capability to develop any device which can give a human being the technological capability to view any object in open space. I don't know if this is free space, open, I don't know what this is, but you cannot tell me you can look through something right now, if you're an astrophysicist, cosmologist, scientist, and tell me, break it down for me. Break down that technical device and tell me how you were able to develop the capability to see anything at 200, almost 300 million miles from the surface of the earth. You can't do it. We don't have the ability. We never had it. Think about Magellan. Think about Galileo. These guys had a single monocular about 2 feet, 3 feet long that they were looking through. This was back in the 14, 15, 1600s. These guys were looking through a single 2-foot monocular where the lenses were hand carved. They were not technologically advanced enough to fine tune the concave, curve, and convex lenses to put them in this handmade device where Galileo, Magellan, and Copernicus all says, oh, that's Saturn, that's Jupiter, that's Mars, that's Venus, that's Pluto, that's Mercury. There goes a spot on the sun. Oh, I just noticed the Orion's belt, which is 1 million miles away. I mean, really, when you look back in the history of all these so-called astrophysicists, these cosmologists, these meteorologists who claim, based on the science books that we've all read, and based on everything we know today, you cannot continue to believe, you just can't, that these men, these delusional men, could be trusted to tell the world, this is what we saw, here it is. And we use that same data today to say, oh, this is where everything is because Galileo said, because Magellan says, because Copernicus says. Our own scientific data from the Naval Research Laboratory, 24 rocket tests Nothing gets beyond 73 miles. There is a plethora of videos on YouTube showing countless rocket failures. This is us experimenting and literally try and try and try and try again, and we just can't get it done. We can't get off this planet. And you're going to tell me that your tax-paying dollars or wherever country you're from is going towards building a 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million, $1 billion satellite that is going to go travel over 323 million miles? I mean, look at the counter, people. 324 million miles. We have vehicles, cars, buses, trains on this planet that can't even travel that far without being refueled. I don't give a shit how fast you're traveling. I don't give a shit about orbital mechanics, Newtonian science. You can create whatever laws and theories you want to. These laws can't explain that even if you got to terminal velocity of 22,000 miles an hour, you're going to slow down once you hit fucking 100 million miles. Even if you got slingshotted around the earth and you got to 22,000 miles and that space system, that satellite is weighing 2 fucking tons, that 2 tons, gravity or not, free space or not, is going to fucking slow down. This whole idea, what gets put in motion stays in motion until something gets in its way to stop it. Bullshit. Because if that's the case, tell me how, if something traveled 22,000 miles an hour for 340 million miles, and if the signal that's being transmitted from that satellite at 300 million miles there's a delayed transmission from the satellite at 300 million miles back to Earth. You tell me, if it takes 20, 30, 40 minutes to program this satellite to fire its jets to slow the fuck down before it hits the fucking planet, there's no mathematics on this earth that would allow for the finite detail to make sure that vehicle slowed down exactly when it was supposed to slow down. Because you got 20 to 30 minutes going one way, 20 to 30 minutes going back. And by that time, it could have hit some area in space where it accelerated, because something could have increased its gravitational push or pull in one direction or another. They keep talking about gravitational lensing. We talk about the LIGO experiment. When you look at this from a real perspective using a computer, you have to continue to question and doubt everything that they have been showing us since the day you were born. There is no way in hell or heaven or on this earth that we possess the technological capability to travel these distances when we can't even design a fucking SUV or a regular car to get us from point A to point B without even using any sort of expendable energy at all. You can't tell me. I can't believe it. I won't believe it. Wireless technology existed since the time of Tesla in the 1920s and 30s. Tesla created the Wardenclyffe Tower for wireless telecommunication broadcasting. So you tell me how it is just 10 years ago, they started putting fucking Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in fucking cars. You create the cell phone. People are now using their cell phones in their cars, driving, fucking running people over, not paying attention, getting in a car accident, killing themselves. And then all of a sudden, they start putting Wi-Fi and Bluetooth inside cars so you can connect your phone to your vehicle. But you're going to tell me we're 10 years behind in commercial technology for the civilian populace, but we're 10 years ahead in government technology to send out a 1 to 2 ton vehicle 100 million miles or more out into free space. Out into free space. That's what they're saying. You're going to tell me we possess the advanced technological capability. If I gave one of you, everyone out there, $10,000 right now to go buy the most advanced telescope you could purchase, and the one question I ask you is, okay, this is the capability of this telescope. This is how far you can see. You tell me, what do you think the average distance is of the objects you're looking at in space? Or what you believe to be space? Because what you're looking at is not as far away as you think it is. And I want to emphasize think. Thoughts become things. See, we've all been programmed since birth. We've been shown pictures of what planets look like, what stars supposedly look like, how far. We've been told already how far things are supposed to be, how things are supposed to look, yada, yada, yada. We don't know what fucking Venus and Mars and Jupiter and Saturn and Mercury look like. You know why we don't know what it really looks like? Because we don't have any fucking thing to look that fucking far. There is nothing on this earth that gives us the ability to look out fucking tens of millions of miles. We don't have the ability. So the question remains is, then what the hell are we seeing when we look in telescopes and binoculars, when we look up into the sky? When you're looking up into the sky, you've probably spent 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of watching television and reading books and reading newspapers. And if you've been using the internet for as long as I've been using the internet, it's been already ingrained in your psychology of what you're supposed to be seeing. And according to ocular sciences and medicine, what you're thinking about, what you're visualizing in your brain, that image is being projected onto your retina, upside down. It's being projected onto your retina upside down. But in less than a nanosecond, whatever it is you're looking at that you identify to be your computer screen, it's so fast that image is right side up. So I want you to take this thought into mind. Think about this. You're looking into a telescope. You spent 10, 20, 30 years of being told how far something is away, what it's supposed to look like, and what it's supposed to be. They've already identified it for you. They've already pre-programmed you to tell you what it is. So you have this thought in your head. The image is already with you. It's already on your retina. You put your eye down to the eyepiece. Inside that eyepiece is an angled mirror around maybe 30, 40 degrees, 45 degrees. That mirror is attracting light of some sort, all right, on whatever ultraviolet spectrum scale. And what's happening is that that image in your retina is now being projected down into the mirror, going out through the scope, being refracted and reflected back onto the mirror, and reflected back up into your eye to give you a right side up image. You created the image because you were told for 10, 20, 30 years of what it is you were supposed to be looking at. Now, if you're not an astronomer or cosmologist and you look into a telescope for the very first time, you're gonna see objects you don't recognize because you weren't told what it is you're looking at. That's why most telescopes are computer programmed. They have computer software. You plug in the coordinates for Venus or Saturn or some constellation, and the telescope takes you there automatically. The same thing works with a camera. When you look into a camera, it works the same as a telescope. When you take a picture of anything or anyone, you are looking at that person first, and then you're developing a visual frame of reference so that you know where to point the camera, You focus in on what you're taking a picture of, it's already mentally in your head. When you click that button, you're not taking a picture of what you already just looked at. You're taking a picture of what was already reflected onto your retina and then reflected back onto the film of the camera to give you the image, whether it be digital or analog. That's what's happening. When you look at this illustration, we're now at 434 million miles. 434 million miles. Do you really still want to believe that we have the advanced technological capability to stand on the surface of the earth, anywhere on earth, at any observatory? I don't give a shit how big the telescope is and how much it costs. Do you really believe that they could convince you that $1 billion gives you the capability to view anything in space you can't independently verify could be fucking Saturn, Venus, Uranus, or Pluto, or the Milky Way for that matter? There's no way they would let us go out there, because they know we're going to see exactly what you're seeing right now, a fucking black screen. You're going to see nothing but emptiness, darkness, blackness at 445 million miles. That's starting from the sun. That's not from the earth. So deduct 93 million miles, you're still looking at 300 plus million miles. So 300 plus million miles, you tell me, do you really believe you can spend $10,000 to look at something this distance? Because if we have the technological capability to view something from this distance, that means you have the technological capability to literally build your own car where you'd never need any fuel at all. It would just be a perpetual electrical system vehicle. All movement will create some sort of energy of some sort, using some sort of electrical capacitor or transistor. There's no way, people. And if there's other information out there to prove me absolutely wrong, I dare anybody, I dare anyone to produce a real-time, high-definition video, unedited, unmolested, that came from any space agency where they took a video. I don't care how much time it is. It could be 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it may be, where they put a space vehicle in an orbit of another celestial body, and they took video of exactly what that vehicle was seeing. You can't produce it because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. They can't produce any real high definition photos. High def. We have cameras that can give us 3084 by 1920 pixel visual capability. But they claim that it costs millions of dollars to put the same type of camera onto a satellite that's supposed to be flying around fucking Europa and Pluto, the furthest planet supposedly in our solar system. We're not even halfway to Pluto. We're at 472 million miles. We're not even there yet. You're telling me we got a vehicle all the way out to Pluto, and the best pictures we could take is fucking 1950s fucking black and white? You got to be kidding me. You can't believe this anymore. It has to stop. I can't be convinced based on all the evidence I've researched thus far for over 30 years. And I do mean I've been looking into this for 30 years. It has all now come to a culmination that everything that I have been told, everything I've been shown, everything that's been explained to me, everything I have learned. And when I say learned, I'm saying they programmed this into me to tell me this is what you're supposed to see. And here we go. 483 million miles, here's Jupiter. and its 4 moons. 484 million miles. You deduct 93 million miles, you're looking at 380 some odd million miles. Now I got Union Graffiti asking me about the dome. The dome. According to the European Southern Observatory, they shot a laser and it hit something. It hit a sodium atom layer at 90 to 110 kilometers. So there's your dome. There's the limit of it. Could there be something beyond that? Possibly. Do we know? No. My curiosity is now, they use 22-watt laser. If they cranked it up to 30, 40, 50 watts, increase the power, would the laser pierce through this sodium atom layer? But if we compare that to the underwater footage that was shot back in 2012, where a submarine went down to a specific depth and they couldn't penetrate this one highly salinated, dense layer of whatever it was, they couldn't get through it. They said they just bounced off of it. So if that same environment exists above us, then what are we seeing when rockets go up into the sky? Are they hitting this dome? Are they punching through it? Or are they just getting short of it, creating a visual magic show to give us the appearance that they're actually traveling further out beyond the surface of the beyond 110, 120 kilometers? See, I'm of the belief right now, based on the research that was done with Theodore Kármán and these other physicists, the Kármán line was agreed upon and set at 100 kilometers. That's 328,082 feet from the surface of the Earth. I'm now of the understanding that the Kármán line is really not where space begins. It's where the dome ends. It's that hard barrier layer that Theodore Kármán and the rest of these physicists agree, this is where the limit has to be. We can't get any further than this. But see, all of the rocket telemetry data you've ever seen from every launch, where they show that these rockets supposedly going beyond 400,000 feet, that's all software programmed. You can spoof that information. You can spoof it. It's not real. It's not genuine. When you see that dick-shaped rocket that Blue Origin is launching, it goes up into the sky to the Kármán line, and then all of a sudden, this cylindrical rocket just falls down the same way it flew up into the sky, and then right before it comes, it's at terminal velocity, and then all of a sudden it can fire these rockets to literally stop it in its tracks so it lands like a feather. Come on, people. Really? You believe that? All of this money being pumped into civilian space programs and launches to get people up into space, why hasn't anybody achieved it? Why does SpaceX got to fake everything they're doing? Why is Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on technology he knows he will never be able to successfully develop to get people to see what's real and what's not? Richard Branson has more money than Jeff Bezos. If Richard Branson couldn't do it, what makes you think Jeff Bezos can do it? What makes you think Elon Musk can do this? What makes you think anybody can do this? NASA can't even do it. The German space agency can't do it. The European Space Agency can't do it. Am I still there, people? Please tell me you're with me. Hello, hello, hello. Please tell me we're still here. Are we here? Hello? Hello? We should still be here. Hello, guys. All right, good. Let me go back to the screen before. All right. Wow, now they're screwing with my internet connection. And here it is. I have the most incredible broadband where there is. All right, so let me continue. We should be at 552 million miles. Okay, great. So 554 million miles, people. We do not possess the advanced technological capability to see anything at this distance. We do not possess the technological capability to see anything that is light years away. Now, I want to work to put the concept of light years in your minds, okay? If we want to accept Einstein's theory of relativity with regard to the speed of light, c squared, the speed of light standard is 186,000 miles a second. Now, let's do the mathematics here, okay? You have 60 seconds in a minute, okay? You have 60 seconds in 1 minute, all right? So when you take 60, all right, times 186, all right? Let's see, it's 43. That would be 10,360,000 miles. Okay? Yeah. And you keep doing the math. When they say something is light years away, they say it's hundreds of light years away, millions of light years away, billions of light years away. They're saying that we have the technological capability to see objects in space tens of millions or hundreds of millions of billions of miles, light years from the Earth. That's what they're saying. We're now at 579 million miles. Okay? I mean, this is incredible. I don't think I'm screen sharing. So let me get back to that. Okay, I apologize, guys. Let me do the screen share because I wasn't screen sharing. I wasn't screen sharing. Let me give you guys back the perspective so we can get back to that. We're not even at the next planet. We already passed Jupiter. Okay? We're at 586 million miles. 586 million miles. We haven't even reached the next planet yet. There's no way. And I'm not trying to indoctrinate you guys. I'm not trying to psychologically manipulate you or get you to believe something that you shouldn't be believing. You have to see this for yourself. You have to, there's no way to experience this. Common sense, logic tells you. If I stand you out in the middle of a dark parking lot with no lights, with a telescope, and we all look up at the sky together, and I tell everybody, okay, look up at the sky. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds is up. How many people, raise your hand, believe that any one star you just looked at could be 100 million miles away from you. Just think about that. You looked at this, you looked up at the sky with your own eyes. You would look up at the sky with your own eyes. And if you could conceptually perceive that what you just saw in the sky with your own eyes, no telescope, could be millions of miles away from you, then guess what? You're a fucking superhero. You have superpowers because there is no fucking way you can see anything a million miles up into the sky. The only way you'll be able to see what you're seeing in the nighttime sky is because it's closer. And then you have light refraction and reflection. You have other things in the atmosphere that allow you to see things that are close. You could almost say that our dome, the layers, I think there's multiple layers of domes. There's one layer, and then there's a second layer, and so on and so on and so forth. But I think that our dome is acting like some sort of concave and curved lens, giving us this advanced ocular view with our own eyes. But then when we use telescopes, it's like using an advanced telescope and looking through four additional advanced, bigger telescopes. So, does that mean I'm just contradicting myself with the whole damn hangout? No. What it means is that there are layers of our atmosphere. Our planet is actually acting like a giant telescope, giving us the appearance that things that are really far away from us at 619 million miles look very close. But if they can judge the distance and time, and here we are, pop the champagne, we just passed 1 billion kilometers. We're at 622 million miles. If it's possible that there are celestial bodies and constellations out there that are hundreds of millions of miles away from us, and our 4 layers of our atmosphere is acting like some sort of telescopic device, meaning that the whole planet is a giant fucking telescope, it's a machine, then there's a possibility that these things that are hundreds of millions of miles away from us are really 100 million miles plus away from us, or we just don't have the ability to see that far, so we just got to use our imagination. And I'm leaning more towards that we have to use our imagination to think about what could be out there, and that's why NASA confirmed to me that every single photo that they put out is someone else's mental rendition based on numerical data of what the drawing should look like, what the picture should look like. And then NASA said some people who have to review this stuff agree, okay, consistent with the data, yeah, that photo looks really good. Why don't we put that one out to the media? And they've been doing this for decades. They don't put these raw footage out there to let us decide what the hell is that we just saw in the sky. They don't want the general public because they're thinking that we can't collectively agree this is what it is. They've decided for us. But when you look at this perspective on this screen right now, it's 643 million miles. And when they show us the pictures of what our solar system is supposed to look like, and when they show us in a telescope or some video on YouTube or someone's P900 who just happened to capture fucking Saturn and Jupiter in a fucking camera, you got to ask yourself, if all you have to do is spend $400 or $500 on a P900 and you can see the fucking planets, does that tell you the planets are further away, or does that tell you the planets are really fucking close? Because a P900 doesn't have a more advanced capability than a fucking $1 billion telescope sitting on a mountaintop in Chile at 8,200 feet with a lens bigger than your house. They have lenses on these telescopes larger than your house. depending on what type of house you live in. You might live in a big mansion. Well, then you got me beat on that one. You can't tell me all the people already got P900s can see and take pictures of things that are hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away. Because if that were the case, why can't you take the same photo standing on the earth and see these same objects? Why can't you see, if you're standing on the shores of New York, Long Island, don't tell me the earth is curved and I can't point the camera at somebody standing on the shores of Scotland and say, hey, how you doing? Just wave your hand there for me. That's 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles. But you're going to tell me you guys, with my tax-paying dollars, have the capability to see something 300 million miles from the surface of the earth, but you don't want to let me see it for myself? You're going to tell me that's what you saw, and you want me to expect you to believe you? You just can't. You can't force yourself to stick with the 7 billion soul narrative. 7 billion people believe this. 7 billion people believe what they're being told. They are not questioning it. There's probably half of them, they don't really care what they're being told. They just want to live the life. They don't even know if the life they're living is their life. They don't even know if it's real. They're not sure where they're going, where they're going to end up. Half of them don't even know what they're going to eat the next day or what they're going to wear. Another billion are just sitting there right now wondering, where the hell am I? What the fuck am I doing here? If you can't sit down and question why the hell you're really here and what you're here for and how you got here and why you have an entire government structure lying to you day in and day out to tell you that they sent a Juno satellite to Jupiter and they won't show you the damn thing approaching this planet, you need to start submitting documents, petitions, and affidavits to ask for a refund. They can't kill all of us. Well, maybe they can. Because they've maintained this lie day in and day out, every day. You just go to NASA's channel right now and look. There could be 100 or 200 people who think that what they're seeing on that screen for NASA is the most beautiful thing they've ever saw. But they will never question, how the hell, why won't you give me literally a real-time view and just pan and tilt the camera around for me a few times? Let me look around. Don't give me this. I'm tired of looking at the same bullshit CGI view. We do not have, I tell you what the technological capabilities we do have. We do have the technological capability to fool 7 billion fucking people on the planet. Movies. Movies. And if no one ever told you that Hollywood movies, any movie shot from any country, if no one told you that these movies were based on fictional events and they were just put out on the television, I guarantee you they probably could have maintained the lie up until this day, so that every time you turn on the television, whatever came on, you would immediately accept, oh my God, look at what's happening. You know, they could show you a Michael Bay or a James Cameron sci-fi movie, or that new movie, what was it, Independence Day. If they showed you that on television, and you came into the world never being told that television is all fictional with the exception of the news, if they told you that everything you're going to see when you turn that switch is real, I guarantee you when they put Independence Day on the television, you'd be fucking running for your life trying to hide somewhere because you thought aliens had just invaded the fucking earth and they were coming to get you and kill you. And you'd probably be trying to call somebody else anywhere in the world you thought that was happening to find out if they were okay. Oh my God, we just saw on TV the aliens came down and started destroying UK and London and New York. And they're capturing people. They look gross. We don't have anything happening here. Are you okay? Is there anything we can do? That's exactly what we'd be doing. And if you didn't watch television and the shit was on the internet, you'd believe what you saw on the internet, and you would never question its authenticity. You would never question its disingenuousness. You would believe it. If you were never told that what you saw on TV was fictional and science fiction, you would believe it was real. You can't tell me you would not. So how can you believe anything any government puts out regarding space and the way this planet is designed and function? How can you believe it? Do you believe it because it's a government and because they've been duty bound to protect you and serve you and prevent some other country from coming in and making you a slave? That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Spain is not trying to attack France. France is not trying to attack Spain. Portugal is not worried about Spain trying to take them over. The Russians don't want the fucking US. The terrorists don't want to take over the world. It's your government who wants to kill you, maim you. Period. They have to lie to you because they know if you find out the truth that none of what they've been putting out is true, it's all been a lie, they know the first thing you're going to ask, why are you lying to us? What are you hiding? What the fuck are you hiding that is so terrible that you have to take my money to have a fucking Vegas magic show every fucking day of my life? You are paying them to trick you. You are paying them to fool you. You are paying them to kill you. And when you kill yourself, they investigate it. They want to know why you committed suicide. Because you want to know why? You weren't supposed to take your own life into your own hands. You weren't supposed to decide when the lights should be turned off. You cost them money. They are pissed off. You will not get a CNN, oh, we want to give a nice in memory of to this person who killed themselves because they couldn't deal with the lies we were telling all the time. They don't care. All they care about is maintaining the lie. But what is the lie? The lie is this: 745 million miles and counting. Where the fuck is the other planet that they claim that we should be seeing right after Jupiter? Or Saturn? Where is it? They is telling us that they have the capability to employ PhD scientists who still don't even, they've spent their lives developing more and more theories and proving fucking nothing. NASA has more fucking PhDs working for them that don't know their asshole from their elbow. They can't explain simple, everyday things to you. But when you have to talk to them about a specific technical capability that you want to learn about, they don't want to talk to you if you can't understand the basics. They don't want to explain it to you. You want to know why they can't explain, a PhD can't explain it to you? Because they don't fucking know. But they're claiming that they can pay a PhD $100,000, $200,000 a year to come up with such an advanced, creative, innovative piece of technology that would allow them to travel 759 million miles from Earth and take pictures of a foreign celestial body, but they can't show you right now. You got to wait 6 fucking months to see it. You have to wait 6 months to see this shit. If I told you today Okay? 5 minutes ago, I saw an alien walking out in the woods right outside my house, and I took a picture. Every single one of you would be asking me, show it to us, show it to us, show it to us. My response is, wait, you got to give me at least 2 weeks. I got to process the image. Would you fucking still believe me? Would you believe me 2 weeks from now after I processed the image that that image was actually real when I just took it 5 minutes ago? So why the fuck would you believe that these images they're showing us of these planets for decades are actually real physical objects floating 760 million miles out away from us, and we have the ability to look at it anytime we want and tell you exactly what the temperature is on that planet, what the weather conditions are like, if there's any disturbances, if a fucking meteor hits it, if there's some gravitational anomaly. We can tell, NASA can tell us this. But when we need to know what the fuck the weather's gonna be like 2 days from now, it's a fucking forecast. You know what a forecast is? A forecast means the statistical probability it's gonna fucking rain tomorrow is about 90%. But between now and tomorrow, anything could happen and the sun will fucking shine all day. That's what they're doing. But they can tell you that on fucking Uranus, as 800 million miles away from the Earth, they can tell you that a meteor just hit that fucker. But they can't tell you when it happened. It could have happened 6 months ago, 18 months ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But they will lie to you and tell you that shit just happened. They just noticed it. But they can't even monitor our own weather in real time. Things are so highly dynamic where we are right now. But they want to lie to us and tell us that we have been paying for the highly advanced technological capability to know if a fucking rock is farting on fucking Mars. 148 million miles away from the Earth. Mars is 48 million miles away from the Earth. But they said we have telescopes that can see into the space 10 million light years away. We can see celestial nebulas and supernovas billions of light years away. But when we need them to point that fucking telescope at Mars so we can see that rover moving around and doing what it's doing in real time, you should be able to literally see the fucking tires on the rovers on Mars, if Mars is as far as they say it is. You should be able to use the Hubble, which is supposed to be looking into outer space. Hubble should be able to give you the clearest pictures of Mars. They've never once used Hubble to take a picture of Mars. Sophia should be able to take a picture of Mars. Sophia has never taken a picture of Mars, and it's flying at 45,000 feet. Every picture you find of every planet is not a real photo. It's in different light spectrums. You never see it for what it really is. It's a concocted fucking imaginative idea of what it could look like. That's not what it really looks like. And if you want to doubt that, go looking for yourself. We're at 813 million miles. And they're saying that there are things that are too much for our brains to handle. That's what they're saying. They're saying when it comes to the things like the age of the Earth, the number of snowflakes in Siberia, the national debt, those are things too much for our brains to handle. So what they're basically saying, that there's so much information out there that we can't process it fast enough. We can't process it in its completeness. We can't process it to make sense of it because it's just too fucking much. So you're going to tell me that if we can't do this with our own brains, process what we see up in the nighttime sky, you're going to tell me Instead of us doing it, we have the intellectual capability to design an advanced piece of technology that can do what we can't do. We can think of it, but you're telling me we have the ability to develop it so we can be aided and assisted in doing these type of things? No. If you can build something, if NASA can build something that can travel 828 million miles from the surface of the Earth, then you share that fucking technology with Ford Motor Company, with Tesla Motors, with BMW, with Mercedes, with Kia, with Hyundai, with Volkswagen. Share it with all these fucking companies so that they can have the technology to build a fucking car that doesn't require you to use gasoline or batteries. Because you built something that can travel 800 fucking million miles, then why can't you do that for everybody here on Earth? Why can't you build a cell phone that allow you to communicate using Wi-Fi, and you could talk to anybody on anywhere on the planet like they were standing right in front of you? NASA Ames Research Center has 4 D-Wave quantum processing computers. These computers cost $25 million a pop. They have 4 of them in their basement. These computers are supposed to be processing more data collectively as a parallel computing supercomputer system than every computer in the United States. If you put every computer in the United States together to work simultaneously, these 4 D-Wave computers could process that amount of data times 100 in less than a nanosecond. So tell me how it is Google, who has teamed up with NASA and the Ames Research Center, has 4 of these, $100 million in their basement, and we can't get clear audio and fucking video on YouTube with potentially 100 million people on YouTube at one time. I'll tell you why. Because that's not a fucking quantum processing computer. It's not a quantum processing computer. It's a Xeon fucking processing system on fucking steroids. Period. We're now at 852 million miles. This program that's running right now is giving you visual perspective of what is out there. You don't see anything else. This guy had to put in certain types of text to give you some time to pass until the next planet pops up. And you're going to tell me, you're on the surface of the Earth, looking through a telescope, a celestron, maybe costs you $9,000, $10,000. You're telling me that if you get the data from NASA to tell you where the next supernova is going to show up, the MG82 supernova, you're going to tell me that if that's light years away, which 865 million miles is not light year, you're going to tell me you can see that and identify it clearly and convince 100 people, yep, that's the supernova. No, that's what you were told was a supernova. There's no way for you to confirm that, verify that. You just can't do it. You can't use a scientific method and confirm that. And here's the reason why. You're already using falsified data to come up with a conclusion based on a corrupt hypothesis and fabricated dependent and independent variables. So what does that say to us about our lives and how we're living every day? Yeah, I mean, you've all heard that cliche. You're just living a lie. That couldn't be any further than the truth. That statement is no further than the truth. We are all been living a lie. I don't care how old you are. You've been living a lie since the day you were born. You've been living a lie since the day you were born. I'm living a lie. Here it is. I'm a graduate student working to get recognized in the industry I'm working in, which happens to be information technology and artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm not doing it to work for someone else. I'm doing it for myself. Now, I'm learning, but I'm not learning what they want me to learn. I'm learning that everything that I'm being told I should be reading and what I should be using to develop this standard model of acceptance of data and information is based on original bullshit. And here we are. Here's Saturn coming up, 891 million miles. There are people who use the P90, P900 camera to say that they saw Saturn. You telling me that a P900 can see Saturn at 893 million miles? Raise your hand if you agree that a P900 has the technological capability to view Saturn, the rings of Saturn, at 800 million miles from the surface of the Earth. If you have a P900, you know anybody that has one, do you really believe they can see Saturn at 800 million miles from the surface of the Earth? Really? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself to see that. I think the guy who is a Houston Watch, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. He sent me a lot of interesting things. He really challenges me and questions me to, fine-tune a lot of the things I'm saying. But back on topic, you got people out there who say they buy these DSLR cameras with these super telephoto lens, 600 to 800 millimeter, and they can see the rings of Saturn. Saturn just passed us by at 800 million miles from the surface of the Earth. Now, if I was into advertising and marketing for Canon or Nikon or Pentax, I would sell fucking 100 million cameras in probably 30 fucking days. And you know how I'd do it? I would show this video perspective, and I would show my customers who wanted to buy the most expensive camera that Canon could offer, and the most expensive telephoto lens that they could offer. I'd sell them all the bells and whistles with the nice tripods. I'd probably throw in a tripod for free. And then when they'd ask me what the cost was, I say, Canon changed its business model, and these cameras are going to cost at least $20,000. If you want the whole package, 20 grand. This camera has the capability to see objects in space at 800 million miles. Now, when you do the mathematics, right? When you do the mathematics, I charge $20,000 per package. I sell 100 million cameras. I'm now the richest person on the fucking planet. Canon loves me. They want to make me their fucking CEO. Because I put together a simple fucking advertising and marketing campaign to sell their most expensive camera, and all I did was tell people, hey, this camera has the capability to see objects in space at 800 million miles. You can do wonders with this camera. It's the most advanced camera on Earth in the universe. You can see 800 million miles. Do you see the ludicrousy behind this, people? Do you see the nonsense and ridiculousness? We do not possess the advanced technological capability to see Saturn with a fucking camera at 800 million miles from the surface of the Earth. You cannot continue to force yourself to believe this. You just can't continue to force yourself to believe this. If these planets exist, not in our minds, but in physical reality, not in our minds, in physical reality, then all of these planets are literally thousands of miles away from us. And they're not the sizes that they claim to be. They're smaller. They're smaller. And to give you another perspective example, just take a look at the moon. Take a look at the moon. The moon tells you how small these planets may be. The sun tells you how small these planets may be. That's right. The moon and the sun tell you how small these planets may be. The stars, literally, probably could be something you can hold in your hand. Because I did the video on nanodiamonds. NASA confirmed that. Nanodiamonds in space, right? A nanodiamond. Put that into perspective. It's smaller than a carrot, a half a carrot, a quarter of a carrot. It's not even a carrot. But if you got a bag of them, you got the biggest diamond your girlfriend or wife will want to have. And all of that material is found on the ground that you're walking on. And it dawned on me the other day when the sun was out and I'm walking down the street to go to the store, the sun was reflecting light onto the pavement. Now, of course, you got all your concrete, dirt, sand, and soil on the sidewalk. But you have to ask yourself, man, when you hear the concept of nanodiamonds in the sky, in space, they're found in meteorites, nanodiamonds. Millions of them are found in meteorites. Shit falling out of the sky, filled with nanodiamonds. When you learn that, and now you go outside and you see this little sparkling type of thing in the ground, don't go get a fucking shovel and start trying to dig that shit up. Because one, you haven't even seen what a nanodiamond really looks like. They're just telling us. But let's just say, if we take that concept of the nanodiamonds and they're found in the sand, in the desert, on the beaches, and that's what that sparkle is, because remember, you can't spot a diamond until the light hits it. When the light hits it, it acts like a prism, right? The diamond acts like a prism. It's refracting and reflecting light. So let's think about this. If you own a home and you live in a home, the house that's sitting on that foundation is maybe worth probably less than $100,000 in labor. But the ground that house sits on, that's the value. That's the real value. The soil that house sits on is the real value. We all know why the real value. You got to pay taxes. You could pay off your house right now, but you'd still be fucking paying taxes for the land it sits on. And the governments, local governments would tell you, oh, the reason why you're paying taxes is because you have sewer you got to pay for. We got to attach the sewer line. We got to attach the power line. We got to attach a cable line. We got to attach a phone line. So all of these local public utility services, that's what your taxes are for. We got to pick up the trash. You got to have roads, all this shit. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's a bunch of bullshit because you don't need a fucking dirt road. You could dig your own fucking well for your own sewer. You probably have water right below your fucking own house. But the reason why you're paying those taxes, okay, is because that land your house is sitting on belongs to the fucking incorporated county or government who has already put that piece of land and pledged it as an asset to be traded on the world market. You don't own, you might own that house, but you don't own that land it sits on. You never will. You will not be able to go to your county government and say, you know what, I'm tired of fucking paying taxes. I got a life expectancy of fucking 200 years. Here goes 200 years worth of taxes. Here, take it. They won't take it from you. They won't take it. If you ask them for the deed to that land, they can't produce it because they don't own it. because they already gave it to someone else. Who they gave it to, who fucking knows? That land has a shitload of nanodiamonds in it. That's not me saying that, that's NASA. You got nanodiamonds in shampoos, lotions, toothpaste. They use it for dental, they use it for computers. They even use nanodiamonds for blood byproducts to literally change your DNA. You got nanodiamonds inside your skin and in your body and in your blood right now. That's why people are so valuable. That's why labor. That's why governments use labor statistics to determine what their GDP, their gross domestic product, is going to be. Guess what the gross domestic product is? Human labor. So based on how old you are and how many hours a day you work and what you do, the more you work, the more valuable you are. The type of job you have and how much you make determines your value. If they lose you, they lose a shitload of money. They don't, that little chump change money they're giving you in a paycheck, that's nothing. You are the fucking prize. And they keep pumping you full of nanodiamonds every time you wash your hair, every time you wash your ass, every time you want to smell good to put on lotion, brush your teeth, okay? I'm not saying don't wash yourself, don't clean yourself. Yeah, you want to smell good. You don't want to smell like a monkey's ass every day. But it's good to have this knowledge to know that. Now, that's me just saying that. We're at now 1 billion miles. Anybody seen any other planets come by? I haven't yet. 1 billion miles. We're over 990 miles from Earth. And they are telling us that we have the technological capability to view planets in our solar system and identify them from a distance of 990 million miles from the surface of the Earth. There are people who say that they have these $400, $500, $600 Nikon cameras, and they can see these planets that are hundreds of millions of miles from the surface of the Earth. I'll say it, I'll keep saying it until this shit is over with. We do not possess that technological capability. Now, I'm not saying we don't have advanced technological capability. What I'm saying is this. Nothing that they're claiming is in the nighttime sky is 100+ million miles or 1 billion miles away from the surface of the Earth. Nothing. Everything is thousands of miles away from us. And they're creating some sort of optical illusion to give us the idea or the conceptual view that things gotta be far away from us. Oh shit, it took 6 months to get to Mars. Really? Prove it. How do I know you just didn't turn the fucking thing off after you showed me on TV that you launched something? Because I don't know where it went to. You didn't show me. And if you did send something to Mars that's 48 fucking million miles away, because that's exactly how far Mars is away from Earth. Mars is approximately 48 million miles from Earth. 48 million miles. And when I did the mathematics, if you're traveling at an average velocity of a sustained terminal velocity of 22,000 miles, 22,000 miles, it don't take 6 fucking months to get to Mars. So what are they doing? Stopping off at the fucking drive-thru or some shit? They fueling up somewhere? They gotta make some pit stops? Recharge? They're using time to fuck with our reality. That's what they're doing. They're using time to fuck with our reality. They never can give us proof that it took them this long to do this or do that. They're using imagery to fuck with our reality, not giving us real images. They're giving us composite imagery of somebody else's fucking sick thought while they're sitting at a desk fucking around with a computer. And then they're taking our own money to say, the joke's on you. Thank you for paying your taxes. Just make sure you keep it coming, because we're asking for another $19 billion next year. Oh, I won't be in office, but somebody else is going to ask for this shit, because we're going to have a delay. We're going to have some technical problems, because we're not really building this shit. We can't do it. You can measure all these things out in the atmosphere, but when I want to go look on the weather map to find out what the weather's going to be like in Colombia a week from now, you can't give me with the greatest accuracy as you can when you're monitoring the fucking sun right now, but you can tell me what's going on with the sun in real time. Literally, you can log on to one of these helio monitoring websites and they'll tell you right now what the fuck is going on with the sun. Right now, they can tell you what's going on with the sun, but they can't tell you what's going on in any other place in the world right now. If you wanted to go look on the National Science Foundation's website, okay, National Science Foundation's website, and go look at the wireless camera for the Amundsen Scott Station in Antarctica, and it's summertime down there. I guarantee you, you go there right now, you're not going to see a live fucking view. The camera's going to be down. It's not going to be operating properly. It's that simple. It's that simple. Here we are at 1 billion miles. We're over 1 billion miles, people. Where the fuck are the rest of the planets? This is what they want 7 billion people to believe, that our universe is so huge, fuck, it takes over fucking an hour. And at the speed that this mile counter is moving, we're moving at about 300,000 miles an hour. We're traveling at 300 miles an hour on a fucking computer. And we still haven't gotten to the next planet. We passed Saturn. We still haven't gotten to the next planet. They want us to believe our universe is so infinite and so huge. This is what they want us to believe. This is how they put it together. But when you're standing on the surface of the Earth and you look into a telescope, and they're like, oh shit, look at Uranus, look at Saturn, look at Jupiter. I mean, you can see that with your own eyes. You can see it in a camera and a telescope. So now when you do that again, you think to yourself, man, can I really fucking see Saturn from fucking 900 million miles away? Is that? Call up the manufacturing for the telescope and the camera and ask them, what is the maximum viewing capability of my camera if I'm looking at the nighttime sky? And see if they know the answer. Because I asked someone the answer last night, a guy who has a YouTube channel, The Angry Photographer. This guy's supposed to be talking about photography and field theory. I posted the question 5 fucking times. Can you tell me the viewing capability of a 26 millimeter focal length telephoto lens? Instead, he's having frivolous fucking conversations talking about girls who are photoshopping bikini fucking photos. I can't take this fucking guy serious any fucking more. And I really wanted to talk to him. So I decided this morning to call the manufacturer for that telescope, for that telephoto lens. I called Canon. They had me on hold for 20 minutes. When they finally got me on the phone, the lady says to me, well, I was looking for someone to answer your question, a technician or a salesperson. And I've been told we don't know. It was that simple. We don't know. And here comes the next line of words put up on the screen. Wait till you see this. We're at 1.1 billion miles. And they're saying you would need 1,246 of these screens lined up side by side to show the whole map at once. Now that's the map of the universe, if you were to map this all out. They want us to believe our universe is vast. Man, our universe could just be our own fucking planet, man. There could be nothing else out there. It could just be us. We're just a drop of fucking water. We could just be a drop of fucking water. And there's nothing else out there. But they want to create this type of knowledge to get us all believing that the universe is so big and so vast that our minds can't comprehend it. See, what they're doing is, I see what the method of the madness is. If you get a group of people believing, okay, if you get a group of people believing that they don't have the individual cognitive ability to transcend above their own mental awareness and cognition, if you really put that out there for decades and years, getting the human being to believe there's no way they'll be able to develop the mental capability to fathom this type of information, this vastness, you have effectively accomplished the manipulative capability to suppress the human being into remaining controlled, manageable, and grounded. Meaning, they're telling you, you're only allowed to be this smart. You can't be any smarter. No fucking way. You can't be any smarter. Because if you did, you're a threat to us. You're a threat to national security if you think you can be smarter than us. Because if you show that you're smarter than us, you develop something, you patent something, and we find out about it, oh, we're gonna stop that shit real quick. Think about the Mensa society. Mensa. It's a society for people of higher level of intelligence. You take an examination to determine what your level of intelligence is. But get this. There are people who have scored off the chart with Mensa. You never hear from those people again. If you scored above 200 on the Mensa test, you're a fucking one dangerous person to the rest of the world. Because the belief is there shouldn't be any one person with that much collective intelligence to know every fucking thing. Because if you had that type of intellectual capability, that means that you could put that intelligence to use to figure out a way to get the fuck out of here. Or you would uncover so many truths, it would literally destroy the whole world. So if you're really highly intelligent, you're immediately put back into that category of being controlled. You're literally put back into that category to being controlled. And if you're put back into that category to being controlled, guess what that means? You're a highly intelligent person. You're a highly intelligent person who can't tell other people that you're highly intelligent. You can't exhibit the signs that you're extremely highly intelligent because you were told you're a threat. So you go into hiding. You have to stick with the status quo. You gotta stick with the narrative. Because if anyone else finds out about you, they're gonna be scared of you as well. They're gonna be afraid of you. They're not gonna wanna listen to what you say. They're gonna think you're crazy. How can you know this? How did you find out about this? What proof do you have to support your knowledge, your understanding, your comprehension? And if you reveal that proof, of your knowledge of comprehension, and it didn't originate from somewhere on this earth through normal indoctrination and understanding and learning, and you say to somebody, oh, an alien gave it to me. It came to me in my dream. Or I had this epiphany. Or I had a vision. You hear about people like this who say they had visions, they see this, they see that, they've been told this, they've been told that, and those people are always fucking put off as fucking crackpots, nutbags, psychologically unstable, mentally disturbed, delusional. They need to be put on medication so that their brain chemistry can be fucking manipulated. Here we are at 1.1 billion miles. Still, no other planets. They want you to believe that just our solar system alone, you got 1 billion plus miles of space. But when you look up into the nighttime sky, you're supposed to see nothing but these billions of stars that are supposed to be millions of miles away from us. That's what they're telling you. None of those stars are millions of miles away from us. They're thousands of miles. That's why you're able to see these things with a P900 camera, with a Celestron 1400 high definition computerized telescope, with a $1.5 billion very large telescope in Chile, with a $1.5 billion telescope that's supposed to be in space. Ain't fucking nothing in space. They put a limit on space. They put a limit on space. Period. They put a limit on it. And that limit is 100 kilometers, 328,082 feet from the surface of the earth, give or take a couple of thousand miles. Ain't nothing getting beyond the Kármán line, people. Nothing. Nothing is getting beyond the Kármán line. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing is beyond the Kármán line. And I'll stick to that until someone provides me with unequivocal, irrefutable, clear, genuine, authentic, high definition video. Fuck a photo. I'm tired of looking at pictures. I can create all kinds of pictures in my own mind. I got a vivid imagination, like the rest of you. You're gonna have to show me the video footage for real, or take me somewhere where I can see it for myself. I'll pay the money to go there. I sure as I ain't paying fucking $20 million to the Russians to be put on a fucking ballistic missile, praying it doesn't fucking explode so they kill me, because we know that they ain't going where they're saying they're going. There's no way. No way. I'm not confused anymore, people. I used to be. I used to be seriously confused. Seriously confused. But, you know, in my 40s now, man, I've gotten this new burst of clarity. I see things so damn clear now. It's not funny anymore. It used to be funny. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. It's just not funny anymore. It's disgusting. It's disheartening. It's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because whoever is behind all of this, they are laughing every single day. They're laughing every single day at the collective masses. Every single day they're laughing. Here we are, 1.2 billion miles. Not a single planet in sight showed up yet. And here we are. We're still going, people, together. We're still going together. I'm going to watch the chat a little bit because I might want to respond to a few people. All right? I might want to respond to a few people. Are you asking so you can verify the validity of your own personal experiences? No. Stay healthy, Robert. We need you, brother. I need you guys too. It's all good, Robert. Talk to you. Robert, I agree. We need to stop chasing our tails. That's what the globe lovers want. Man, here's the thing. You got people who believe in this ball thing. They believe this whole perspective thing here too, that our universe is this vast. What if this possibility the universe is that vast? We don't know. They can't give us a real picture. They'll use the excuse that we don't have a camera that can do this because the way light reacts and the way it behaves, you need to have this specialized type of camera, yada, yada, yada. They have every excuse in the book. They have a book called the Book of Excuses for the World. Whatever question you ask them, they whip out this book like people whip out the Bible and says, okay, I think this falls under chapter bullshit. Person asked a question about the size of the universe. Response: it's too vast for us to comprehend. That's the response they give. Why can't we see stars? Well, the reason why you can't see stars, oh, wait a minute, that's chapter 3. What's chapter 3? Who fucking knows? They got a book of fucking excuses, man. And when you try to disprove, hey, I did this experiment, I did that experiment. This doesn't support what I've learned in this, what I've learned in that. What I'm showing is the perspective. Oh, shit, I hope it didn't. I was supposed to be showing the perspective. Let me show this right now. What I'm showing is a solar system perspective to reveal how vast governments, we've been told how vast the universe is. And this counter at the bottom is revealing how many miles away from the sun. And of course, I've already told people that the Earth, all you have to do is you take this number and you deduct 93 million. So this is about 1.1 billion miles from the Earth, where we're traveling out to our outermost solar system. We haven't even got to Uranus or Pluto yet. Okay, that's what I'm showing here right now. And as you can see, I'll play with this a little bit. I can show this in Earths, right? It would take 800 Earths to travel this distance. If we want to do that in buses, right? It would take 159 billion buses to go this distance, right? To make up this distance. Blue whales. It would take 67, what's that number? 67 billion, 220 million blue whales. And then Great Walls of China. 228,100 Great Walls of China. Light minutes, 112.4 light minutes. Light minutes. Now remember what I said. The speed of light, according to Einstein, is 186,000 miles a second. So in 1 light minute, you just take 186,000 times 60. You have 112.8 light minutes. All right? But they're claiming it takes 6 months to travel to Mars. 6 months. So what I'm showing you here is this is the perspective they want us all to believe. And this is how vast the universe is. Okay? This is how vast they say it is. 1.2 billion miles. 1.2 billion miles. Again, you got to ask yourselves, people, you got a telescope, you got a camera, you got binoculars, you look up at the nighttime sky tonight, wherever you are, ask yourself, is what you're looking at really millions of miles away from you? Can you really bring yourself to believe and teach your children and confirm with your friends that what you are looking at in the nighttime sky is hundreds of millions of billions of miles away? Just take a couple of minutes to ask yourself that question when you look up into the nighttime sky. The next time you see the moon, ask yourself, is the moon really 258,000 miles? Ask yourself that. That's all. Here comes another quote. This quote says, "It's easy to disregard nothingness, but there's no thought available to encapsulate it. There's no metaphor that fits because, by definition, once the nothingness becomes tangible, it ceases to exist." Baby people, I just keep going and going and going and going, man. I mean, look at this. Let me see if I can fast forward here, people, because it gets crazy. I'm going to fast forward this. And look at this. It says, it's a good thing we have these tiny stars and planets. Otherwise, we'd have no point of reference at all. And they're saying we'd be surrounded by this stuff that our minds weren't built to understand. That's what they're saying. Let's fast forward again. Okay? I don't want to take you guys too much boredom because shit, this could be 2 hours. Here's what they're saying. All this emptiness really could drive you nuts. For instance, if you're in a sensory deprivation tank too long, your brain starts to make things up. You see and hear things that aren't there. How about that? Sensory deprivation tank. So how does that relate to what we're seeing right now, the perceived view? When he uses the example of a sensory deprivation tank, if you're in there for too long, and when they say too long, I've been in a sensory deprivation tank for 1 hour. Within 20 minutes, crazy shit starts happening. If you haven't experienced that before, try it, okay? Just try it. Because what happens, from my own experience, within the first 20 minutes, you start adjusting to the concept and perceive reality that you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, you don't smell anything, and then eventually you don't feel anything, okay? Because the temperature of the saline water adjusts to your body temperature. So you don't even have you don't have the awareness that you're actually floating in dense saline water. Saline actually supports positive buoyancy. So you don't have any pressure on your body, nothing. After 20 minutes, and this is just what happened to me, you start thinking about all kinds of things. Maybe you're thinking about things that you did in the past or whatever have you. And then, maybe 10 or 15 minutes goes by, and then you're not thinking about anything else, right? You don't even realize you're in a sensory deprivation tank anymore. And then once you hit the 50-minute mark, 1 hour mark, oh shit, man, I thought there were like 4 or 5 people in fucking side there with me. I thought I was floating outside of the fucking deprivation tank. I started experiencing all kinds of crazy shit. My mind was just, I kind of freaked out a little bit. And then I just, I hit the button, boom, they opened it up and I came out and I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Literally, your senses actually play some serious tricks on you after that, okay? But here he's saying the brain isn't built to handle empty. It's got to make shit up, right? So when you relate that to space, right? If space is really just nothing but emptiness, what the hell is being created out there that they claim that we can see that's light years away? Here's another quote. This guy's put it in here. He says, "Sorry, humanity," says evolution. "What with all the jaguars trying to eat you, the parasites in your fur, and the never-ending need for a decent steak, I was a little busy. I didn't exactly have time to come up with a way to conceive of vast stretches of nothingness. This is what they want us to believe, that the rest of space is nothing but nothingness, nothing. But what is nothing? Neurologically speaking, we really only deal with the matter of a certain size and energy of a few selected wavelengths. For everything else, we have to make up mental models and see if they match up with the tiny shreds of hard evidence that actually feel real. I don't want to argue with myself about the concept of God. But when you read that about how we have to create mental models to compare with the hard evidence we actually feel are real, if you've heard my videos before, ain't fucking nothing real. All this shit's in your mind. You don't see anything light years away. It's closer than what you think. And I want to emphasize think. Just keep thinking, people. Keep thinking. Here's another quote. The mental models provided by mathematics are extremely helpful when trying to make sense of these vast distances. But still, abstract is pretty unsatisfying. They want you to think a set way. You can't be abstract in thought. They can't allow you to think for yourself. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you doing for yourself. It's a concept in law. It's a Latin term called parens patria, the parent of the state. Your state, your country is your parent. You gave them that right. You gave it to them. That's right. Your parents gave it to them. As soon as they filed that birth certificate, they gave it to them. You're their property. They own you. When you hear people talk about how there's more to this universe than our minds can conceive of, it's usually a way to get you to go along with a half-baked plot point about UFOs or superpowers in a sci-fi series that you're watching late at night when you can't get to sleep. How about that? How about that? Let's keep going. We ain't even at the next planet yet, people. We're still going. We're still going, people. Still going. Even when Shakespeare wrote, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy." He's basically trying to give us a loophole to make the ghost in the story more believable. We just keep going, people. Let me see how many miles we're at. We're at 157. Here we go, Uranus. Uranus is 1,188,299,027.7 miles. Deduct 93 million, that's about 1.6 billion miles. How many people have really seen what they think Uranus really looks like? NASA can tell you, because they thought of it. Let's keep going. That's Uranus. 1.8 billion miles. And here we go. But all this empty space, these things of a massive scale really are more than our minds can conceive of. The maps and metaphors fail to do them justice. Incredible. I just got to keep going. I'm gonna keep going. You look at one tiny dot and then you look for the next tiny dot. Everything is in between is inconsequential and fairly boring. I'm going to keep going through these quotes. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to just keep going. And let's just see. Let's see where this takes us. Because I don't even know where this journey goes, to be perfectly honest with you. Keep going. 2 billion miles, people. Even an atom is mostly empty space. Even an atom. If the proton of a hydrogen was the size of the sun on this map, we would need 11 more of these maps to show the average distance to the electron. John and I focused on quantum mechanics. This is where we were taking you guys. We wanted to show you, you get down onto the smallest level and you start coming out, this is what you come out to. Some theories say all this emptiness is actually full of energy or dark matter and that nothing can truly be empty. So I'm going to forward this on, okay, because this goes a long while. I'm going to go really fast. I want to see how far we get to another planet. I'm going to keep going. Keep going. Oh, let's go back. I missed something there. Neptune, 2.7 billion miles. How about that? Neptune. Let's see if we can get to Pluto. Oh, there you go. All right, here we go. Pluto, according to this data that every government wants us to believe, including NASA, Pluto is 3,669,456,187.2 miles. Deduct 93 million miles from that. You go from the Earth, Pluto would be 3,556,000,000 miles from Earth. And look how fucking small it is. It's a fucking speck. They're saying to us that they got an advanced technical system 3.5 billion miles from the surface of the Earth, and they took black and white motherfucking photos of a speck. But get this, they also claim that we have the technological capability to see this planet from the surface of the Earth with a fucking giant telescope. 3 billion miles. You want to believe that? Go for it. I sure as hell don't. I don't. So I wanted to share that with all of you. I really wanted to share that with all of you. I did this hangout by myself. I had some spare time on my hands. And, you know, I'm not sure if John was busy or anybody else. John and I, we're still going to do a show. We're coming up with some things to talk about. We'll have a few other people. But I appreciate all of you who showed up and listened to me, I don't know, rant. Like that's what you want to call it. But again, universal perspective. We do not possess this visual ability. The universe, our solar system, our furthest planet, supposedly, if that Pluto exists, our furthest planet is not 3.5 billion miles from Earth. It's not. We do not have the technological capability to see any fucking thing beyond 1 million miles. Nothing. Next week, John and I are going to have a call with some special people. The phone calls begin next week again. That's right. Magic Spirit, I'm going to fulfill that promise. This month, the phone calls begin again. Oh, yeah. I had a brief phone call today with someone from a government agency I can't mention right now because they might be listening. And I didn't record it. I just was asking some general questions. And, you know, some of these responses was interesting, but I wanted to talk to somebody else specific. That person's not going to be back in their office until next week. And I will speak to that individual. John and I actually have questions to ask them. And it's involving a specific subject. Again, I won't mention. But again, you need to ask yourself, when you look up into the nighttime sky tonight, can you really force yourself and convince yourself that what you're seeing in the sky is millions of miles away? The answer should be no. It's thousands of miles away. Because that's how you can see it with your own eye. And then if you got a telescope or a camera or even your own phone, that's the only way you can see it. Because I use literally a first generation Galaxy phone to take a video of one single star in the Colombian nighttime sky. First generation Galaxy phone. You tell me how a $200 phone gives me the capability to take a picture of a star in the nighttime sky that's supposed to be millions of miles away. That phone doesn't possess that capability. That phone does have the capability to take a picture of something in the nighttime sky that could be a couple of 100 miles away, or maybe tens of miles away, or maybe 1,000 miles away, but it's not looking at a star that's a million fucking miles away. The universe is not as 3.5 billion miles from Earth to Pluto. It ain't as big as what you think it is. You are bigger than what they say everything is. How you think is bigger. And they exploit that mind of yours to get you to believe that you can't comprehend everything else that's out there that you created, which is within your fucking arm's reach. That's what it comes down to. Everything is within your arm's reach. That whole saying, if you set your mind to it, there ain't nothing you can do. Take heed to that. If you set your mind to it, there ain't nothing you can fucking not do. We don't have the technological capability to see billions of miles because everything else is close. And it doesn't cost 20, 30, 40, 50 million, 100 million, $1 billion. Maybe all that shit they're building costs a couple of $1 million. They're taking the rest of the money and giving it to their contracting buddies, and the rest of it's going into their pocket. They need you. You don't need them. So that's it, people. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Anybody wants to talk to me, feel free. You can email me. You want to share a conversation with me on Skype? I'm open for it. I'll talk to anybody. Don't try to bullshit me. Don't try to troll me. Don't try to hack me. I'll talk to anybody. Send me whatever information you have. I'll look at it. I'll talk about it. All right? But again, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. I'm looking for hard data. Hard data. I'm starting to make sense of this shit. And I'm open for anybody that wants to challenge anything I've said with the same amount of clarity, definitiveness, and documented support to tell me, bro, I'm sorry, but you got it wrong on this one. I'll admit that. Here's my Skype. Here's my Skype. I'm getting ready to come online right now to talk to a few people. But feel free, people. I'm available every day. I want you guys to take care of yourself. Again, look up into the nighttime sky. Ask yourself that question. Take care.